Hello, welcome everybody back to our Thursday Live. I'm here today with Beverly Winstead and LaKia Bourne. We will be talking about what you should do when preparing your company, getting started, some of the steps that we can make, 3 steps particularly today we're going to talk about the entrepreneurs often make when financially setting up their companies. Before we do that, I'm going to let Beverly tell you a little bit about herself.
Wow. So my name is Beverly Winstead. I am an attorney with the law office of Beverly Winstead, which is a small firm right outside of Washington, D.C. in the Laurel area. I've been practicing tax law for about 8 years, really helping businesses, entrepreneurs like maybe yourself, when they get in trouble with the IRS or even before they get in trouble, in terms of helping them to correctly structure their business. So that's a little bit about who I am.
And I gotta say, one of the things that you guys want to think about when you're watching this is what can you do before you get in trouble? Because although we have an international tax attorney, IRS litigation specialist, and she also does tax planning. So you want to look at the planning part before you get to the trouble part. Because IRS litigation is somewhere you probably don't want to be. But if you are, she can still help. And LaKia, if you can tell us about yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is LaKia Bourne, and I'm with Synergy Accounting Services. So what we do is we work with small businesses, medium-sized businesses on their financials. So we're with the business owner, in the day-to-day operations. We're like your CFO for hire. We're helping you grow your business to the next level. We're located in Odenton, Maryland, and have been in business for 7 years. Synergy just celebrated its 7-year anniversary. So thank you for everyone who, it's been a great 7 years, so thank you for everyone for your support. But we really work with the business owners to grow your business to the next level. So we're helping you from the day-to-day bookkeeping all the way to the strategic financial growth of your organization.
All right, so I want to ask you guys some questions. And the questions are for you guys, so if you have questions as well, definitely let us know. I try to keep up with you all as much as I can. But in your businesses, so everybody wants to make sure they don't end up in a tax problem. Everyone wants to make sure they have a bookkeeping system in place. And one of the things, similarly, that I mentioned that you want to be prepared for, you want to prepare correctly before any tax situation occurs. From a CFO standpoint, some people don't know exactly what that is. Mm-hmm. So for those watching, can you tell what a CFO really is and what they would do?
Got it. Well, a CFO is working with you on your operations. So, we're with you working every single day on the financial backing of your business. So, is this product or service profitable? Should I hire this employee? Should I expand? Should I grow? Am I keeping the proper record keeping for when you get to someone like Beverly to do tax planning, or when you're about ready to go into court, making sure you have the proper documentation. So we are the people that's involved with you in your dream and your passion, making your business grow to the next level. So that's what CFOs do, and we're the financial support and backbone to your organization.
So I like the language you use when you talk about dream. It's important as professionals, as we're working with clients, that we understand that, that they have dreams, right? And we're here to basically assist them in their dreams and what it is they're trying to accomplish, whether it's leave a legacy for their family, whether it's because they got tired of working for a boss, and now they basically just kind of want to use their own creativity to create something special for themselves.
Yeah.
So
good point.
And it's great that there's such synergy in the room, especially because we have Synergy Accounting here. But one of the things I want to say is you also had your 7-year anniversary. You recently had an accomplishment occur. So you've been named what for everybody?
Okay, so I have been named vice chair of the Maryland State Bar Association. Which is the bar for attorneys here in Maryland. A huge accomplishment. Oh, I'm sorry, vice chair of the tax section. Let me make sure I clarify that. But it's a great opportunity for me to continue to try to help not only colleagues in my profession, but also to help maybe set policy for businesses and entrepreneurs. So I'm really excited about it.
So one of the reasons why I asked them to clarify a couple points about their businesses before we dive into the topic is you guys really need to recognize the opportunity you have to talk to two dynamic CEOs and to, take this opportunity very seriously because you can ask questions about your business. I'm trying to keep up with the questions. Michelle, we see you. Thank you for tuning in. It's awesome sharing. Megan, we see you. Juan, we see you. So thank you guys for, watching. Larry, we received your note that we have dynamic people and that we need to keep heading in the right direction. Thank you for that. Last week we had a person on and there were two. So it was Randy and we had Alma Hinton on, or Miller now. And I think between last week and this week, we had over 1,000 views between the two of them. So,
wow.
Thank you guys for that. And because you all are watching, this is definitely providing some type of resource for you. I want to make sure that we have guests of this caliber continue to come on. So with that, we can kind of dive into the topic and I'll ask, we can make it conversational. Now, one of the things that people often do wrong in business when looking at the financial structure, especially starting out, is setting up an incorrect business structure. Now, I know from a business consulting standpoint that people dive into business and then everyone goes straight LLC or straight sole prop. And normally those two paths are because sole prop, you don't have to do anything. So you just continue to do business as you always have done business with a business name and you don't know any other way. A lot of times I feel like people go the LLC route because it's, I guess since like the late 1999 coming to now, it's been popular. It's pretty easy to structure, but what they don't realize is very easy to structure wrong as well. And because you get it set up and you get this book or you get this letter in the mail saying you have an LLC, you just think you're off and running. Like, I have an LLC. It says it at the end of my name. I'm good.
Yes.
So where does the problem really lie in that from a tax and a bookkeeping standpoint?
Okay. So it's funny because I was having a conversation with a young man yesterday. He called the office and wanted to talk about his business. And I said, well, tell me a little bit about, your business, how you're structured. And he said he was an Escort. I said, okay, well, why did you decide to structure yourself as an Escort? He said, I don't know, because everybody was telling me that's the way to do it. So, in most instances, it goes back to not just because it's the easiest form, it's because everybody around you in your particular circle is saying, hey, this is what you should do. But when you actually seek legal advice, we look at, particularly my firm, one of the things we look at the industry that you're in. We look to see how it's going to impact you legally, as well as, we look for a way to help you mitigate taxes. So in a lot of instances, I will set you up as an LLC. However, there's an option whenever you set somebody up as an LLC to check what they call check the box. It's called make an election to whether to either for you to be an S corp or a C corp. Yeah.
As it relates to your filing.
As it relates to your filing, how IRS is still going to recognize you. So there are various reasons why I will set someone up as an S corp versus a C corp, or an LLC tax as an S corp versus a C corp, and it has to do with filing. It has to do how I want to limit your liability. It may even have to do with whether or not you're going to go out and seek crowdfunding investors. So all those conversations I like to have and probe with a particular I'll say potential client. But one of the things I will say why it's important to actually sit down with a professional is because there have been times where a person structured themselves as an LLC, and then at the end of the tax year, in particular, I had a client who, filed and ended up owing about a couple $100,000 in all honesty. So when she came to me, she was coming to me because she had this huge tax bill, right? And so I was trying to work to negotiate with IRS to reduce the tax bill. However, had she came to me on the front end for the tax planning portion, she never would have been an LLC. I would have immediately contacted IRS, applied for late election relief, converted her over to an S corp or a C corp, and she never would have been hit with that that bill of $100,000. Well, it was about $500,000, which is huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
That is huge.
It's a huge step to carry, right? And it's all because she chose an incorrect structure when it
Yes.
came to setting up her business. And that's a common mistake I see
Yes.
businesses make all the time.
All right,
Yep.
so
And then just to kind of piggyback on that, because you asked kind of how I parallel with that. When you have these tax liabilities, from the accounting standpoint, it's a cash flow issue. With this tax liability, you still have to be able to pay it. So you have to generate the revenue to be able to pay it. You have to, and you still have other things to consider, such as employees, such as the expenses. So savings, her saving her that money, she wouldn't have to be able to worry about that cash flow throughout the year, because that liability has to be met. So
Right.
I agree. I find it all the time as well too. And people not understanding what comes along with even being an escort. Like really understanding like you need to be on payroll and having the cash flow to be able to pay yourself on cash flow, and not just pay yourself $500, but it needs to be like a reasonable salary.
Reasonable compensation.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
a reasonable compensation. And I find people just find it very sexy just to say, oh, I'm an escort, and not really thinking about the cash flow that's in their business to be able to support it. So, which is why we all partner so well together. So please get the proper tax planning up front. I
Yes.
agree, Beverly.
and when you say pay yourself on cash flow, what is cash flow?
Well, having enough money in the business to be able to support the operations of the business, So while you have this dream, that's great, but you still have to have the money in the organization to be able to, pay these things. And depending on what industry you're in, cash flow could be tough. Some industries you don't get paid until months after you've done the service, but you might still have employees.
Mhm.
So you have to cover the cost of that. Or when it's time to pay that tax bill, there's a due date on there. So you need to be able to have the money in the organization to meet these obligations. And I find a lot of people fall short, and there's been people who've gone out of business by just not having the right entity set up because they can't make the tax obligation.
Right.
And
Let me say this.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay.
let you say it, but I'll say this. Two parts. I'm torn because we have two questions waiting. But one thing, you guys really want to pay attention to how you're managing that tax obligation, because when that interest hits, if you've never been charged interest by the IRS, it could be depending on the size of the debt, it could be the equivalent to some people's salary.
Yeah.
So you really, that could be more, but that's just one point. I'll get to the question after you were going to do a follow up.
Oh, the only thing I will say is going back to getting the proper planning advice. And this is what I tell people: it's much easier. It's much more cost effective, or cheaper, basically, to get the advice. Pay a professional. Whatever their 1 hour consultation fee is up front, than to have to deal with coming to see a professional once a problem has been created.
yes.
I tell people that all the time.
Yeah, it's like we can't make
Yeah.
magic happen.
Yeah.
You can't make magic happen.
All right. So one of our questions from Kwan, he wants to know, how do we educate ourselves on the type of structures there are outside of, I guess, talking to a professional? Like, is there a way to go? Do you suggest you talk to a professional?
So I think education is good, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think there's lots of resources online. They'll tell you the benefits of an LLC, the benefits of an Escort, the benefits of a C Corp. Even benefits of maybe being a sole proprietor. There's a lot of ways to educate yourself. I won't say the problem, but the challenge is, even when you educate yourself, how do you apply the facts of your particular situation
Correct.
to what the resources or the information that's available? So that's why you actually come to a professional. You find a professional that has some experience in this, and talk to them even for an hour, because what happens is I really enjoy for a person to come to me and they've done their research, because now I can have a much more engaging conversation with them,
Sure.
right? So I definitely encourage people to educate. And part of my responsibility as a professional also is to educate. That's why when Brent invited me down to give this talk, I said, hey, yeah, this is an opportunity for me to educate and share the information that I've spent years gathering, with entrepreneurs, business owners, because we want you all to be successful,
Yep.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'm glad you added that part about educate yourself before speaking to a professional, because I'm of the mindset that I'm in the same vein. You want to educate yourself because when you come, you want to have an intelligent conversation, or at least have questions that you know resonate with you, that you want answered. Because if you don't, you can leave a great conversation with an amazing advisor, but you really never thought about your questions, and that hour can go quick. That 2 hours can go quick, and then you're going to get home and realize you have this list of questions that you never asked, and then you have to go back, or now you're scrambling to do the research to figure it out because you didn't give it pre-thought. It's similar to what we're saying about getting in trouble, or finding yourself in a predicament. You really want to do as much beforehand when preparing. Prepare for a meeting, prepare for counsel, prepare your business. And that's what we're talking about today, is preparing your business financially so you don't get into a situation later on. And so we have another question for Megan Collins. So Megan asks, I believe this, you didn't say who the question's for, so I'll ask both of them the question. So, what are your company's missions, and how have the missions evolved since you started?
Boy,
that's a deep question.
Yeah, no, it is. I'm sure we have enough Facebook time for that. I would say for any business owner, your business evolves every day, all of the time. When you think you have it, you think you have it figured out, it evolves. I know for us, one of the things that keeps the business evolving is rules and regulations, technology. Those are the things that we have to keep evolving, but at the end of the day, whatever we're doing, we have the responsibility to stay on top of our trade, and we also have the responsibilities to help our clients reach their goal. So, I evolve as my clients evolve. Like I always say, I meet my client at whatever life cycle they're at. So as they move, I move, but my job still is to be able to stay on top of rules, regulations, and technology to help them move efficiently, to help them move effectively. The business model just changes as life changes. I mean, I know Synergy is nowhere the business it was when it started 7 years ago, just because of the nature of life.
So I asked, what do you think is different about it now than 7 years ago? And that generally was different.
A little bit more focused in terms of educating. We kind of spend a lot of time talking about educating, which is why those consultations are important. So we do spend a lot of time talking to our clients, having monthly meetings, having quarterly meetings, keeping them aware of what's going on with the regulations and things. So I think more of that educating the clients has really changed, but then also partnerships as well too. Over those 7 years, just being able to form partnership, which is such as these two people here. So it's a resource to my clients where I can't answer the question. I have great resources that I'm able to reach out to.
So
mission. Okay. My mission has been pretty consistent, and it came from a case, a judge learned hand. This is one thing he said. He said, you have no duty to pay the maximum amount of tax, right? You only have a duty to pay tax. Ooh, so our mission has always been to help entrepreneurs be compliant with their taxes, but also to figure out ways and strategies for them to mitigate their tax bill. Mm-hmm. It's been our mission since we started, all the way up until now. We'll continue to try to find ways to help entrepreneurs, business owners, individuals in that respect. One of the things that I think in terms of how our business has changed, or my business has changed over the years, it goes back to what LaKia said in terms of partnerships. Mm-hmm. Understanding that, everything, I don't have to be the answer for everything, mm-hmm. but establishing partnerships with Brent and LaKia and other, professionals that, can help our clients as a whole to grow.
Yeah.
All right.
I like that.
No, I like that too.
Yeah, I like that, Judge.
All right, so my mission was pretty simple when I started. It was to touch as many business owners in a positive manner as possible. And I kept it simple and vague because I felt the positive touches can happen from introducing them to myself and my services, to introducing them to other professionals, to assisting with the problem that they may have, to just talking to them. A lot of things that business owners miss is the power of talking to intelligent people. And I'm not saying advisors, I'm not saying a professional that you pay X, and X, but intelligent people. And so, with that, my mission stayed pretty consistent. I still want to touch as many business owners in a positive light as possible, but it's not just those people that can become clients. So each of us are business owners, and I hope that the interaction that I have with them creates a positive impact in their business and their lives just as much as other people. Actually, probably more. I'm gonna be honest. And it's situations like that where if you find intelligent people in your network, you really should utilize them and talk to them because you never know what you get out of it. So, one of the other things was in business, because people move so fast and they start their companies, and sometimes the opportunities come. A lot of spaces, we've had people who have started businesses just because somebody called and they said, "Oh, I know a contract that you'd be great for," or they left the job and they said, "You know what, I'm gonna leave the job and then start consulting at the same job that I left," and now they're a consultant, but they didn't have the time to think about how they're gonna structure themselves. So you don't know how to really plan for that first check. So that first check comes in, or you get that call. This is the call they get. Where do you want us to send the money? Or say email. And all of a sudden they think, "You're really gonna pay me? Like, I'm really getting paid for this. Just send it to my bank account." And that's when you get into the commingling situation, and that's what we're going to touch on as point number 2.
Yeah.
I'll let you take the lead.
Okay.
Since you're the accountant, I'll let you take the lead on that.
Yeah, this is probably one of the ones that I'm really passionate about. It's the very first place I start when I'm, when I have a potential client. It's the commingling of funds. Your business is your business. It has its own EIN number. It is a separate entity from yourself. I always tell my clients, you should always have a separate bank account. And when you're getting paid for the services of the business, that money should go into the business account. Now, how you pay yourself, there are some ways you can pay yourself through payroll, you can pay yourself through owner's draws. But it is not okay to take the business debit card to Walmart and go get the groceries and go get the Pampers. It's not okay to take the business credit card and go pay for the kids' piano lessons and, to pay for their college tuition. I've seen it all. So if you are a business owner that's doing it today, let's stop today and then actually come up with a way to separate the funds. Business is business and personal is personal. And they should always be separated. From a financial analysis point of view, we talk a lot about cash flow from a cash flow point of view, but you should have a mechanism in place of, paying yourself. And besides, there are legal reasons behind it as well, too.
Right. So exactly what I was going to touch on. Legally, legally you want to make sure your business and your personal are separate because there are consequences, ramifications when they're not. So let's say you go out here and you have an accident. Let's say you're the owner of Pete's dump truck, right? And one of your employees actually goes out, or you go out and you have an accident. But all the time you've been keeping everything, like your business contracts has been going to your personal bank accounts. When the victim goes to sue, you can say, "Hey, I have this LLC. You can only get the LLC, but the court is going to look behind and do something called piercing of the corporate veil, right? They're going to see, they call it the alter ego. If you are commingling funds, the victim can say, or the judge can rule, "Hey, no, this was actually you personally. Therefore, we're going to take a look at your personal assets also." So, that's one of the things that you have to be cognizant about. So it's not just about because you're in business and, you now can make money. There are things that you actually legitimately need to set up to make sure you're protected now that you have the LLC.
Correct.
Now, you guys both have mentioned like separating commingling. And I'm going to pretend I'm out there. And I'm going to say, okay, I did get that phone call, or I just cut somebody's grass and they're handing me cash. Or I run a car washing service and it's a cash business and I have cash. I need to put it somewhere. I already know that I didn't spend the time to figure out what type of structure I'm going to form. Is it better just to put it in an account and have it in an account? Or is it better just to keep the cash in a box?
I say run out to the store, open up a bank account. It doesn't take long to open up an EIN number. You could do that. And
people might be wondering what EIN is.
The EIN number to the business as well, too, or talk to someone. But it's cash. You're not holding a check. You can hold it on the side as well, too. But I wouldn't, an EIN is like your social security number. So it's the number that attaches to the business. But I would say hold it on the side. Don't go put it in your personal
But you
account.
can set up a sole proprietor account, right, with the bank without having the EIN number.
That's another good option. Yep.
Yeah, so what I would do, and this is, sometimes that people just go out and make money, particularly in the early beginning when they don't know whether or not they have a legitimate business, they're trying to figure out whether it's a hobby or whether or not they're actually going to, it's going to be a business. Hey, the best thing you can do is still just go to the bank, set up a sole proprietor account. It'll be linked to your social security number, which is, may not be the worst thing when you're first starting out, and then just change over, once you understand that maybe, hey, this is more than a hobby. This is actually a business.
Yes.
And that's one thing you guys should definitely take note of. When she said that, it may have slipped right by you. Some people have hobbies that they believe is a business. They whittle bird nests or bird houses, and they want to start doing it for everybody in the neighborhood. And for like 4 years, they do 3 bird houses per year. And they think it's a business, and they write off this huge loss. And it has nothing to do with building birdhouses, because commingling isn't always just about putting money into the business. And I guess that's something I can ask you guys. When people start to move expenses that really aren't business expenses over to the business side because they feel like, well, it's all related. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. They want to pay for everything, everything and anything outside of this business account. And, just like Beverly said, you could open up that sole proprietor. As long as it's a separate account. It's not, don't take the cash and go put it in a current account, but open up a separate account and use that for all of the, whatever basket weaving or whatever they're doing. And then you can actually draw money out of that account. You can take money out and then put it in your personal account to do your personal, to take care of your personal things. But don't use that business, especially if it's in the early stages like we talked about, you're not sure. Still don't use it for personal things. That's a business account. It should be for business related expenses.
So let me say this, okay? Because I work with entrepreneurs also. One of the advantages, again, of talking to a tax professional, particularly with me, is,
What'd you say?
I know, right?
I feel it coming.
I want to continue
live.
But sometimes we look at personal expenses and we can say, well, maybe there's a way that we can convert that personal into a business expense. Let me say that. Okay, so particularly when it comes
legitimately,
yes,
legitimate.
But talk to someone first, please.
Make sure you
don't make a
talk to
legitimate
right.
mistake.
So one of the things that people do a lot of sometimes is traveling, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things that if you're always going to Miami, to do something, the question is, are there any conferences in Miami that you can go to?
Yep.
Whether it be marketing or something for your business, where you can actually be down there legitimately for a business purpose, and then also enjoy, maybe after the conference is over, a little fun at the beach, right? So those are the kinds of things that I help talk through with business owners.
Yeah. And so I think all of this leads back to, and Godfrey Dudley, thank you for your like. Appreciate it. If you have any questions, feel free to put them down, and we'll try to get to them. And Kwan Glover, I hope that answers the question about the EIN. If it's not clear, either DM me or send another message. So, and you just you just sent one. Give me a second to get to that. All right. So you guys, we talked about commingling. That's one thing, and I think because of the issues that come up because of that, people aren't keeping their books. So they have no system in place. So, in regards to bookkeeping, it would be, how do you all, I guess, help people plan for the need, or really structure a system so they can do it?
Yeah. Totally on you as the accountant. Totally on you.
It's a circle. It definitely always comes back around. But we help them set up a record keeping system. We can call it that. Sometimes that's a system such as QuickBooks or or zero, or it's just an Excel spreadsheet. So it just depends on where you're at in your business. But again, it's important to kind of keep those a list of those clients and the monies that you receive from, and then also the expenses. All of those things that you're working on, it comes full circle, because at the end of the year, if you have good work record keeping, you're able to pass that over to the person that's preparing your taxes. When you're having a conversation, with your tax attorney about, like you said, about vacation and things that you do, you actually have something to be able to take to them, so they can see what you're doing now to be able to help you with those tax planning strategies. But yes, we always talk about, one of the questions I always get, and I'll answer about receipts. So I am of the mindset you should keep all receipts. Again, leverage technology. I talked about this this weekend when I was at a conference. Leverage technology. Use technology to take pictures of the receipts. You mentioned mileage, mileage and traveling. There's a lot of mileage apps that you could use. So there's other ways to be able to track, expenses, to have good record keeping. But yes, you should have a system in place, whether that's a QuickBooks, whether that's Zero, whether that's spreadsheet. Keep all receipts and bank statements.
Yes, in regards to people selecting a Zero or QuickBooks, what are some of the things generally that they should look for when looking at a system to put in place for bookkeeping?
I would suggest actually, this is where I would suggest really talking with a consultant, whether any type of accountant that's a consultant, because you want your accounting system to fit your business. I know I find a lot of business owners use a front end system to be able to do things, such as a front end system. Yeah, okay. So break it down for us. So such as a medical practice, they use a front end billing system to bill out of as well too. So you might have a different system to keep your expenses, but you have a front end system to be able to do the billing out of. Lawyers use a front end system to manage cases. They could send out an invoice from there. It tells where the case is in each one of, the life cycle.
Like Clio.
Yeah.
Or like Rocket Lawyer or something like that.
Exactly. So a lot of times they have these front end systems. You want to make sure that sometimes there's an integration with the front end system and your back system, such as QuickBooks and Zero. So I would honestly say really consult an accountant as well too, because you don't want to do double work. You don't want to make it hard. The idea is to make it simple. And a lot of times, if you're on an online platform such as like online QuickBooks, they have integration with these front end systems. So and sometimes it's industry specific. Some people don't have a front end system, such as myself. I run everything out of QuickBooks, but it is truly an industry specific type thing.
You got me thinking now. Because I have Clio and I have QuickBooks. Are you telling me that they should be talking to each other?
They can if they have an integration.
Because it's not happening
that's
right
if
now.
they have an integration.
Okay.
Yeah.
They have it. Okay.
I got it. Yeah, we can talk.
So that's one thing too, guys. Your advisors should really have some form of communication with one another. There was a time when we all had a shared client, and that's how we kind of started talking amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
And you want to know, like, the same way you said, oh, that was a clearer point for me on this. Although we are professionals in our respective fields, and I'm gonna make this general, you still don't know everything about everything that's associated with finance. So if it's an attorney, a tax attorney at that, they may not know retirement accounts backwards and forwards. If it's a bookkeeper, they may not know the tax implications of the end of the year X and X backwards and forwards. But one of the things, you might not know the right questions to ask them to get to the right answer, so maybe they should talk. So, every so often you want to really look at referrals, like when you get with a trusted advisor, can they give you trusted referrals? Because more than likely they talk to that person and it'll make your situation better. And the consultation before you actually get into these 3 areas of concern will save you more money than correcting the error for not doing it in the long run. Like tremendous savings. Either way, people end up paying. It's just a matter of at what point do you want to pay and how much and to whom. So, you guys have been great. We answered a lot of questions. If there are any additional questions, you guys can send a direct message to me, and I will get it out to you. Additionally, All of their information will be listed in the links below this interview after we're done. But I'll, just ask you guys if you wanted to say anything about any upcoming events. One thing I have been doing with people on here is asking if they had any needs. You guys have been great. We're getting 400, 300 plus views on most of these videos. And we're all growing our businesses. Mm-hmm. So this is a great time to say, I'm looking for this kind of talent. I need this type of human capital, whatever it may be. If you want to, it's the place. But then also if you have any events that you might want to tell people they'll be able to find you at, or if you're speaking anywhere in the near future, you might want to let people know where they can find you.
Nothing currently on the horizon, but I still say check us out on Facebook, check us out on LinkedIn, and also the web page as well too. So as we are out and about and having events, and then definitely would love to invite you all, or if you have any questions, feel free. I mean, this is a Facebook Live, and it's very, we're talking very top level. So some of you all might have questions that's very specific to your industry, that's very specific to your business. So definitely reach out to us and we'll get back to you.
Okay. So I actually will be speaking tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, early morning.
Yay.
I'll be on the Black CEO morning television show, and I'll be talking about, defending yourself against the IRS. That's the topic. Sometimes I forget what I'm doing. Okay, so that's the topic. So I'll be speaking tomorrow. I also will be at the First Baptist Church of Glenarden on Saturday, September 23rd. There's an event I'll be speaking at. It's called Ask a Lawyer. I'll be there Saturday from 8 to 4. Let's see. And then actually September 30th, we'll be together at the next Saturday. We'll be at the, the Home-Based Business Expo in Bethesda, Maryland.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So we'll all be there trying to figure out ways that we can help you grow your business.
All right. And so I want to say thank you to everybody who's stopped in. A couple people I missed. Adam's Walk, Ja King Hefe, and Tosin. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for the comments. Again, if there are any additional ones, send them directly to me or look for their contact information in the notes below. I will close up now, and I'll turn off the video.
Can I say BSU?
Yeah.
We're all
Blue
Blue State.
So definitely.
Yeah, we should get a lot of likes there, right?
Yeah.
All right, guys. See you later.